do here. Webbs has graciously volunteered to be our very first guest in the amazing program that is Education is Like Countdown. I'm going to give Webbs 5 ideas here. She's going to have 10 minutes, and that's 2 minutes a concept, and she's going to play a little bit of word association. So go ahead, start our timer. Bada bing, we're already going. First one, Webbs, education is like baseball.
Um, Education is like baseball because you have to work as a team. It's not something where like you can just this is really hard to do on the fly. Where you can just kind of go out on your own. Even teams that have like super like good players, there is no way to possibly do it, particularly not without a good pitcher.
Okay, word to the Dodgers. All right, cool. Education is like salad.
Education is like salad because it's a mix of a lot of different things that have to be like they're fine on their own, but you have to blend them together to solve the problem of being hungry. Terrible. And sometimes there are onions.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right. We still have 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Education is like a tornado.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So education is like a tornado because sometimes it's utter chaos and it switches directions and you don't know where it's going to go next. It'll just kind of go wherever. And it's filled with all kinds of it's that salad from the last answer sucked up into a tornado.
And it's just getting blended and flying around.
It's just like all this. It's a lot of this.
Indeed.
And yeah. But you know, it pivots from time to time. It's also somehow like both pivotty and big, lumbering and slow.
Indeed, interesting. Is there an I in the middle that's calm?
No, that's hurricanes.
Okay, I'm sorry, meteorologist person.
It's chaos just all the way through.
Education is like TikTok.
Education is like TikTok. Education is like TikTok because sometimes participating in it, you blindly expose your personal information. It's like TikTok because actually, security concerns aside, I will say that there are some really inventive TikTokers out there that are sharing some really solid content. If it wasn't a platform that was like relatively insecure and steals your information.
So, like all kidding aside, like if Microsoft were to buy TikTok, do you think it would make it a more secure product?
Possibly. Depends on who you care about having your information.
Oh, yeah. I've got an Xbox. They probably got my crap anyway.
That is fair.
All right. And the piece de resistance, education is like a European vacation.
Education is like a European vacation because you'd really like to go and participate in it right now the normal way you would, but you can't. I think it's like a European vacation because you get the opportunity to leave the space you normally occupy and experience and meet with other people and cultures and ideas, and then bring those ideas, people, and cultures back to your home space and improve it and make it better, make your life better, make the lives of the people around you better, hopefully. Yeah, that's what I got. This is hard.
Indeed.
Okay. I want to break down. We're going to take a segue because this is just a random proof of concept thing we're doing. It's total chaos. Breaking down the pedagogical implications of what you're asking me to do. We know that using metaphors to understand a concept is one of the higher level skills to demonstrate that you understand a thing. Trying to do it improvisationally adds a whole layer.
Indeed.
Elder and Paul's How to Read a Paragraph.
Indeed. So All jokes aside, like this was the first day back for a lot of the Clark County School District teachers, and like the distance learning thing is really an interesting. It's kind of this improvisation. That's kind of why that my mind went to this excuse me this particular activity. So in terms of having for a teacher who has very little experience, perhaps on this like digital world, especially with a tool like Canvas, like how do you improvise with very little background knowledge on the subject?
I mean, I would like to hear your thoughts on this, but my thoughts on this are keep it simple. Like, I think there was a thread on Twitter about this a few days ago or last week. The idea that you have to fill out like all your walls in your classroom, you have to fill out all, put everything on your bulletin board on day one. I totally felt that pressure in my first year or so of teaching. And it wasn't until later that I realized, like, I want that to be a participatory activity. So I would try to keep like the basics up on my wall or the basics on my bulletin board.
Mm.
And then as the students and I work together to build our culture, we would add things in. As I talked to parents about what information they wanted to see, we added things in. So making that, you can do that digitally. You can ask your parents and your students, like, you don't have to have all the answers. I think that's a conclusion and we've come to, and something that we have shared quite a bit is like, you don't have to have all the answers. You're a facilitator of learning. So involve them in the conversation. Hey, what information do you need, do you think? Like, maybe it is that I need to know, like, what does my day kind of look like or what might work. Maybe it is a link to here's the unit that I'm working on right now and how I can get to it and back from it easily. So I would say keep it simple. What would your advice be?
Less is more, and I think like seeing a lot of the stuff that's being pushed out there, I'm like, you're doing so much, man. Like, um, seriously, there's a like it's like vomit, right? There's stuff all over the place.
I want to acknowledge the fact, though, that I think that is also a psychological reaction to dealing with stress.
Oh,
So for some folks, moving things around, rearranging things, putting those things together might be a cathartic activity and a way of dealing with the insecure, or not insecurity, but the uncertainty and the chaos of what's happening right now. Um, um, Advice my mom gave me was regarding accessorizing your outfit was put on your outfit and then take one thing off. And I'm pretty sure that's not like her original advice, but I feel like that could apply to this too. So like put your stuff up and then see what you can take away. Like what are the things that you really like them, you're glad you built them, you have them for later, but maybe they don't need to be up there right now.
but also not putting anything up there. Like taking a sheet of paper and a pencil and saying, what is the bare minimum of what I need in order to be quasi successful here? And just saying, here it is. I'm just going to put the name of my school, my name, contact information, God bless you. And I'm going to walk my kids through how to get to my classroom. Or a scenario in which, and I think this is why having a philosophy is important, whether that philosophy is yours, whether you're adapting it from your administration or whatever, having an online philosophy. It is not going to be, I think, one of the continually we see you trying to duplicate what you did in face-to-face time on, it's just going to drive you nuts because there's no way you can do it. Also, for CCSD friends, if you took the same training I took this morning, Google Meet right now does not have the fancy dancy stuff that they were made reference to in that the I am competent deal. So I'd like to know what the roadmap for those functionalities is, but don't plan for the breakout groups and everything August 24th. You're probably going to need another strategy to break your class down shorter than that. And I haven't seen a lot of just kind of perusing people's schedules, not a lot of like real innovation in terms of those face-to-face sessions. Like, why does everyone have to meet at the same time? Why can't you have multiple small groups that meet multiple times in the school year, where it's groups of 5 kids that are meeting at 8, and another group of 5 kids at 9, another group of, and there's a lot of really, really cool things that can be done right now. And it's like there's a this marriage to the dark ages, and you're like, dude, you can be free. The cage is open. Like no one knows what's going on right now. Go and experiment and fail and bust your face, and then realize there's better ways to do it. But don't rely on. I'm gonna have all 30 of my kids at 8 o'clock, and then I'm gonna try to figure out how not to meet people. And
So something I've said a couple times now in our conversations is I am surprised there's not more, and maybe this is people aren't aware that this exists. I'm surprised there isn't more looking toward remote work practices. So, for example, I work as part of a remote team for my day job, and we aren't necessarily all online at the same time. We have a few core working hours, but some folks will work till midnight. Some folks will get online I started my day at 5 a.m. because working with folks on the East Coast, there's that gap, and so the meeting was at 8, but that's not important. There are a couple of resources. There is a book called, I think it's called Rework, by the folks who created Basecamp. That goes over a lot of good remote work practices. One of them, by the way, one of the biggest risks to remote workers is burnout, for the reasons of trying to take what you normally do and cram it into a different medium of working. So, you sit at your desk for an entire day, you never leave, you don't get up and go to the bathroom, like basically some of the things that are hard for teachers in their normal classroom that don't have to be that way in a remote classroom.
yeah.
And maybe that's more how we need to be looking at it. Like, so I encourage people to go like Google remote work practices and look at what things you can embrace from them that apply and could apply to the classroom. Because going back to your you were talking about like not putting so many things into your classroom. When we build an application in software development, we start with like the bare minimum things, and we incrementally build on those things. When I'm writing code, I write janky code that functions first, and then I go back and I iterate on it. We talk a lot about iterating on things. So I think people should be encouraged, like, don't feel as though you have to make this picture perfect classroom for day one. Create something and iterate on it alongside your students. And that way you can ensure that they are your stakeholders, they are your customers, they are your users. You're building a product without wasting additional energy, assuming you know what they want and what they need, especially being that this is an uncertain time and we don't really know what's going to work out best. Don't feel like you have to check all the boxes and make it this picture perfect Pinterest virtual classroom. Like, I would encourage people to do an MVP, a minimum viable product, share it with them, get feedback on it, and then improve it as you go. The same would apply to parents. Show them your classroom, tell them you're open to feedback, give them a mechanism for that, and then go back and revisit it and improve it and keep improving it, keep improving it.
Is that rework book is by
Jason Fried or Fried.
got you. Yeah. Excellent. So Jason Fried and them, we're gonna we'll share that really quickly. So here's that book. And the other kind of thing, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to say, look, don't look online. Don't look for remote work. Look for Montessori. So if you think about Montessori practices are they are really about those students being explorers, those students kind of making meaning, those students testing and trying. So this is that book there, testing and trying to figure out how things work rather than the teacher directing all the actions. And I think that if you look at both of my sisters went to Montessori school, and like kind of noticing how they perceive and observe things, they do it in a very experiential manner. And I think that is a philosophy, that's a strategy that could work very well online right now. So if you're not familiar with Maria Montessori's work, great stuff. Design thinking works, challenge-based stuff, things in which kid is actively engaged in their own work rather than passively receiving information from, here's my Google Meet, and I'm going to tell you how to do 3 times 3. I mean, relevance is going to be really, really important to keep our learners engaged. So that's about 15 minutes. Well, we 5 minutes over the 10-minute hustle.
Yeah.
So
Apologize, Diana Dreyer. I'm on the way to drop off your computer in just a minute.
I didn't do it, Diana. My bad. She'll be there soon. So God bless America. God bless Belgium. Shout out to the homie Kurt Kirkline, and shout out also to the homies in Beirut. Really sad stuff going over there. Our prayers and our sympathies and thoughts are with those people. So God bless
Indeed.
America, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Bye.